All right, mic check, mic check, mic check. Awful lot of faces. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, I was like, this gonna be like small people, everybody before poetry like that. Y'all surprised me. So, I'm gonna be as brief as I can. Thank you guys so much. This is your first time coming out to this particular event. Thank you guys so much. Y'all been rocking with us this whole week. Thank you guys so much. So we're at the final event for what is known as the Southeast Regional North Carolina Poetry Festival. It's gonna be hard to believe when I tell some of y'all this, and some of y'all probably been a Fayetteville for a long time. But this is our 9th year doing this event. All came up with an idea from one of the greats here by the name of Neil Ray. Came up with this brainchild of getting poets together to try to put together something special. The people that helped run that idea with Neil Ray was myself and a poet, God rest his soul, by the name of Cartier Jesus, that helped try to put this thing together. The next year, I took it upon myself just to try to keep it going because I didn't want to see a good thing die. Turned it from a 2-day weekend event to a 4-day festival that you guys see now. We were blessed last year, even though the pandemic happened, we kept doing the event virtually. And at that point, by the good grace of God, not only did we get a city proclamation for the festival, but we got a state proclamation for the festival. It's a blessing. You get God, get the energy, and invite y'all to the fold because Fayetteville has been going on in this city. Poetry in Fayetteville has been going on in this city for the past 20-something years. Like, I don't want y'all to think this is something new. It's literally been like, literally under our noses. So this is just our way of showing y'all what's here. And combination of all that. So Wednesday we did a kickoff open mic in the writing workshop. Thursday we did an LGBTQ open mic. Yesterday we did a youth open mic. Earlier today we did what's known as a nerd slam. And now you're at the final event, which is a $500 poetry slam. Y'all excited? So I'm gonna give y'all the rules for the slam. I'm not gonna go over the whole thing. We'll create a slam. I'm just gonna go over some rules so we can get this thing going.
So what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we like rushing through all of it. So each poet will come up here and do a poem of their own construction. They will not have no props. They will not have no music accompaniment. I know people are thinking like props, but if I read off my phone or I got a notebook, you can read off your phone or your notebook. Props is if you pull out like a chain and say, this chain is the thing that's holding me back. You just qualify off game. I'm letting you know that right now. So give you all that put it down. But each poet will have 3 minutes with a 10-second grace period to do their poem. Once their poem is done, they will be judged by 5 random poets. 5 random judges. Judges, raise your scoreboard real quick so everybody can see your face. See who the judges are. Give it up for the judges, y'all. Hey, our poetry gods and goddesses for the night. So they're going to get up here, they're going to listen to all those hard-earned poems that you wrote and work with. And what's going to happen is they're going to judge your poems based on a 0.0 to a 10.0 decimal scale. 10.0 means that poem was so beautiful, they're going to look at their partner and say, you know what, that shit was dope. Let's go home, make a baby, and name that baby after that damn poem. Like, that's what a 10.0 is. But if it's like a 5.0 and below, that means your poem was not good to them. That means that you need to stop writing. That means you can take a shower. That means you can take a shower in gasoline and set yourself on fire. That still does not mean your shit is hot. That's what that means. So I say all that to say, judges, when you listen to these poems, judge the poems the way you feel. Audience, do your best to persuade the judges. Yes. Judges, do not let the audience persuade you. I'm putting these cuss words out there so that way y'all know what's getting ready to come up. So it's going to be a fun event for each. And also, within the 3 minutes to 10-second time period, if the poets do go over time, every 10 seconds that they go over is deducted 0.5 points. Judges, you do not have to worry about that. That's my job. Also, along with the people that's over here at the table. So, real quick, I will be the scorekeeper, and our timekeeper for the night is the one and only phenomenal writer, poet herself. If y'all don't know about her, y'all will know about her soon. Miss Kalisha Ray over there. And real quick, before I step to the side, I want to get together with our sacrificial poet. But your host for this wonderful event is a brother who I am very thankful to be hosting this event. This is one of Fayetteville's best storytellers. I mean that sincerely. He has a smooth way of doing it. He has a smooth way of hosting. Some of us old heads are happy to see him back here. Some of you young folks, y'all will get up here and be like, you know what, that brother's smooth. I like that. There's something about his chill. I like that. So, y'all like, please put your hands together for y'all host tonight. Hello!
I'm on day 6 of a 10-day clean, solid meal since last Sunday. So if I fall out, don't hit me with an EpiPen or AED. Somebody give me a piece of celery or tomato or something. We're gonna keep this day going. Everybody doing all right tonight? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring up sacrificial poets. But before that, anybody, if you have a pacemaker on or a cell phone, I need y'all to turn them off. Turn them down. But for real though, these poets, we know they practice hard, with their craft and their gifts, and we want to respect the mic. So if you do have to take a phone call, make sure you take it outside. So we're gonna come up with this sacrificial poets play. I need everybody, when these poets come up, show some love for them. Like I said, they've been practicing their craft, and that energy is well appreciated with these artists here. So we're gonna bring up our first sacrificial poet, and the only sacrificial poet, and that is Lily.
That girl you know so well is finally 18. She has a car that actually moves and a house that stands still with two parents. She makes A's and works for a local store that pays her for her personality and loose schedule. That girl you know so well is finally 18. She can hang past 10 plus 1 with her friends having fun. She doesn't watch TV. Instead, she watches her hand develop words on a paper, constantly trying not to miss deadlines. She's so dedicated. That girl you know so well is finally 18. Everything is going good. She's living the teen dream. Although she has nightmares at 17. 17 can't seem to leave 18 alone. 18 is grown. She is not that girl anymore. 18 has parents with a car who loves being 18. 17 has nothing. 17 is worthless. 17 has no future. Sometimes that girl gets scared. 17 will come back to seek torture. The voices, the pills, and the panic attacks. Nobody ever gave 17 a chance to be free. 17 was dead. At the funeral, everyone said hello instead of goodbye. Nobody noticed the decaying body inside. That girl you know so well is finally 18. 18 is slipping through the cracks of responsibility and adulting. She is a defenseless child who begged to be 18, who now does not know what to do with the good in her life because 17 lived with the bad and fell in love with tragedy. Trauma chose 18 though, good, dependable 18. 18 is reminded her parents are loaned to her. Her car was not a reward, but a broken gift to herself in a time of need. Her A's come from fears and the only option of becoming a successful human being who isn't really existing. Everyone knows her though, her thoughts, her needs, and her dreams. They said, things will get easier when you're 18. Here, that girl is finally 18, still finds herself intertwined with the enemy, 17.
Yeah, this is a calibration to get you ready.
Right big.
Yeah, right big. Y'all ready? At any time y'all can hold them up. You're missing one. Fifth judge. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you waiting on me?
Yeah. You
waiting on me to say what?
You gotta write your score.
0.0 to 10.
No, you gotta write
Yeah,
it
hold
big.
it up.
Oh, I have to write it big. And
Yeah.
hold it up.
Yes, sir.
After each board, we'll hold the scorecards up. You had one job.
Keep it up.
We got a 9.9.
No, reload high.
Oh, look.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. So we got a 6.2.
Boo.
8.5. I mean 7.8. I'm sorry. 8.5, 9.8, and 9.9.
Okay.
All right, y'all keep it up. So and then you score again. That's the next one. Good. All right, y'all. We're gonna get ready for the first poet of the night. Goes by the name of Wayne Henry. Y'all give it up for Wayne Henry.
Work.
Arachnophobia is a fear of spiders, right? Astrophobia is a fear of thunder and lightning. Glossophobia is a fear of public speaking. But to me, the most interesting phobia there is has got to be theophobia. Now see, theophobia is a fear of both God and religion. I imagine that this is the phenomenon that occurs when an officer said that he pulled the trigger because he was in fear of his life as a black man, with his hands up, reaching, preaching for peace, reminding him of Jesus Christ. Our bad religion, they say fear causes irrational reaction. So instead of apprehending him, they end him in the middle of the street with his neighbors or disciples, watching his mother scrub his blood from the pavement, cursing heaven for giving her a son that grows into a man just to become a forsaken martyr, murdered because he looked like the Messiah. And then they praise our names on social media like a hashtag. We roll the stone from in front of their tombs and resurrect them from the dead because of the deeds of their ancestors. Now, ain't that how phobias work? To hate what you can't conquer, people what you don't understand, ain't that the theory of bastards, unholy men like Caesar and his Roman 6 protect and serve, but instead use brute force to oppress the people that reminds them of a God that they created in their image. Yeah. Or how a KKK swastika looks like a running cross. I mean, elbows and knees bent, burning to the state salvation, terrified that God just might be fathers and like boys and girls that they murder. How our hoods and fake hats reminds them of a crown of thorns and not a halo. How the black man knows his fights and look at us as if we just gave sight to the blind. Our black men walk like Jesus, treading water, but they call it thin ice. You're a dangerous situation. A reason to save themselves from the Savior era stories. How he fed 5,000 people, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes, sounded like a black man. Driving a fancy car in the middle of the projects on black man, making $1 out of 15 cents. It sounded suspicious. Like Jesus and his miracles. I mean, suspect. I mean, divine. I mean, criminal. I mean, I know I fit the description. My head and hair of wool, my skin a burnt bronze, my eyes a fire flame. I mean, black man magic ain't witchcraft. I mean, I could freeze, but it wouldn't drop my godliness. I mean, xenophobia is the best of me. I mean, don't crucify me because your fears. I mean, officer, your bullet will kiss me like Judas. I mean, I'm unarmed. I mean, don't shoot. I mean, I'm not your Messiah.
Somebody say that poet with it. All right, y'all. Judges. Missing one. I got a 9.0. 9.8. 10. 10. And another 10. So for the sacrificial poet, she scored a 26.1.
All right, well,
Give it up for the poet.
All right, so next poet coming up is Sophia. Y'all give a warm welcome to Sophia.
Hi, my name is Sophia Nieves. Center stage, back straight, chin up, counting lights like 1, 2, 3, wait. I know what you're already thinking. What disability or disadvantage does she have now? And I know what you're feeling. Scratch that. You do not feel anything. And now I am counting for my well-being because as long as I can remember, wait, really, wanted to slice my skin into 1,001 ribbons. Maybe I'd use for a ballerina's point shoes lacing up around the ankle. But what kind of ballerina brings a night self-care night? Razor blades, satin ribbons, crisscrossing up and down the pale leg like DNA strands. But it will not stop from the 1,002 ribbons unraveling my bare skin. And for as long as I can remember, really, I wanted to cut off my own hands, so maybe I could stop with the long sweaters and learn to use my mouth for the better. But you hear I can't speak because of the 1,003 ribbons covering my sweet squeaks. So my hands will do for now. And for as long as I can remember, really, I've been on this kind of satin pink leash that goes around 1,004 feet away from home. But somebody knows there's 1,005 ballerina dancers leading me, but they're pulling me, and I know that they're just trying to help me, but somebody let me go and let me see the 1,006 cuts because I've almost cut down to my knees. Let me see the pill coating on my teeth that hide behind the 1,007 satin pink ribbons over my mouth. Let me see that damned pink leash of 1,008 feet tied around my neck as a noose. But now I cannot see home, but this is still not enough for me. 1,009 arena dancers, and all I see is shiny pink satin ribbons with bloodstains spelling out, "Take me home to the first memory of 1,001 ribbons." And it's so beautiful because I feel like throwing up, but then I cut, and it's like the red droplets are from above, but even pink satin couldn't cover that shit up.
Judges, y'all almost ready? Whenever y'all ready. All right.
Keep scores up.
Got 8.2 for the poet. 8.5, 8.6, 9.1, and 9.4 for the poet. Y'all give it up for the poet. So first round, Wayne Henry scored 29.8. All right, y'all, let's keep that same energy. Third poet we got is Michelle Pratt. Y'all give it up.
I'm really nervous.
You got it.
You got it.
This is my first time up here.
You got it. You got it.
As I look up to the sky, how peaceful and beautiful. Birds of a feather you and I, we feel so beautiful. Never you love, but this is new love, and I just cannot wait to see what kind of man you become, what kind of man a blossom to be. Born of one father with two different interpretations, our human beings sent from God to save a nation of people who cannot fight because they have their own different translation of what God wants them to be.
Hey, y'all give another round for Michelle. That's a lot to get up here to share your heart, everybody. We appreciate that. So the last round, Sophia is 26.2. 6 for the poet. 7, 7.1, 8, or 8.6. Y'all give it up again. We good? Making sure the time was right. All right, y'all. Fourth poet we got coming up is Survives.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a tree, burn and walk, my big. Let's have a father and son talk, my big. Let's talk about the way we live, what we take and give, and the music we dig. Things are inside out, upside down, turned around and backwards. There's crooked stitching in the fabric, but I recognize the patterns. My ancestors lit the lanterns for us to shine the light for my children on higher standards. A blessing from my ancestors that my own should handle. But we don't know what to be one day. All we can do is hope and pray that they do what we say and not fall away to the price to pay for living this way. Now the old folks say at the end of days in the neighborhood phrase for the wolf pack praise on innocent babes that are easily swayed but can't be saved. No respect is paid for the sacrifices made. We don't know what to be one day. The corners where they dwell was where their people fell. When they stepped over bodies and stepped in the cells and they get impaled by the monster that dwell with the preachers and the teachers and the corner store keepers that pretend to be the people don't treat them as equal. We don't know what to be one day. From the schoolhouse corner to the cell block corner to the world that formed us that were built to torment us, my acres still corners, I'm trying to warn us. We don't know what to be one day. But I've been advising these guys about these temperatures rising. I I told him that the fire was gonna rise, not wearing any disguise, it's supposed to black smoke rise, and also emphasizing whatever is abundant and dear in the forest already realizes. You gotta be able to get through the fire yourself. The mama bear is gonna help you out, and the daddy bear is gonna put you along, but you gotta be able to get through the fire yourself. And remember, you can always take a layer off for unexpected changes of season, but they really should be unexpected. Walk in preparation. Icicles forming from cold rain falling and water hardening on freezing winter mornings. Crisp blue skies, snakes in disguise will let your nature rise with lovebird tribe. And smoke will rise from out the corner guys. And hot rock will find hot spots and hit blocks from city tops as niggas watch cold city blocks and teenagers drop non-stop like the Angelpump water drop. It's cold outside. But be careful when it gets hot. Cold winds and big winds. Well, how bad is small band? Cold winds and big winds, big crimes and small sins, get in where you fit in, but don't forget about the trouble you might get in. It's cold outside. Pain, anger, passion, double up the lies, the different outcomes, reason versus pride. Cats walking eyes open wide to like suicide. Find a better vantage point. We can learn, observe, and enjoy the ride. Bundle up though, son. It's cold outside. Thank you.
So Michelle Pratt, you scored 22.1.
Good job.
Give it up, everybody! 9.2 for the poll, another 9.2, 9.3, 9.4, 9.5. Rolling. So I'm gonna bring point number 5 up. Y'all give it up for Zoe.
When the fat lady sings, there will be sparks, and which ignite the very fabric of this world to swell into her size. She will wear her conviction like it's her birthday suit, and every day she will strut down her own avenue. Okay. Like my steps will quake the bodies of weapons formed against me. I watch as intimidated souls escape from the eyes of my pierced adoration swells and smiles I take for souvenirs. Like my trap will knock the extra dollars and change off every outfit of my size. Blow the leaves farthest off the bountiful tree from the love I deserve flow oh so abundantly. The very tapping of my foot will cause cicadas to buzz. And teeters my full scale said my issues is because of my disposition or diet. See, the skin won't be no holding cell. For I am bountiful and beautiful by my own damn self. When that lady sings, there will be no hymn of the rapture. It's going to be the release of bubbling magic that the world will have a neck big enough to capture precise. Just like the sharpest of knives, see my presence is so meticulous and particular, but I ain't no visitor to unsolicited advice because I am all things. Black, bold, beautiful, beguiling, and yes. Let's believe it ain't for you. I step out the box of blue and twirl into new hues. My dance is as graceful as swan upon a lake. Is as powerful and captivating as the reconstruction of narrow roads, but full of figures never failing. My steps is laced with pride, knowing that my strokes will not be glamorized. See, I ain't your inspiration porn, your fetish, your curvy, thick picture board, because you can't hate me in public, but love me behind closed doors. Yeah. When the fat lady sings, it's not intended to be a lullaby to rock you to sleep. For it is a ballad to apply strength to the meat. You gotta know that I ain't weak. I'm here like letters to words in days, weeks, and ditches numbers. I'm a water for the creek. So when the fat lady sings, she's in dual range. Spin multiple chords on the side of the page, and best believe that all that's left is ashes of this stage. No.
So last round survives for the 27.9.
Good job, Lord.
Good job, survive. All right, judges, ready for you. Once I call you out, baby, put it down. I got a 9.5 report, 9.6, a 9.8, a 10, another 10. rolling, we're gonna bring up Poetic Zane. Poetic Zane.
Let's go, boy. Talk to him. Just do it. Okay, we got that.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful. In 1957, Louis Armstrong recorded the song What a Wonderful World, and due to limited promotion, it never sold over 1,000 copies. However, 47 years later, in 2014, it was recorded that the song had 2,143,000 downloads. Wow. I wonder what kind of world we saw. Did you ever see this one? A world where black children are twice as likely to die from lead poisoning than those that are white. A nation with equal rights are only promised if your skin is just right. Not to mention that 2014 was also the year I graduated high school. 2014 is also the year that Flint went without clean water. See, boys and girls living on Standing Rock Reservation and boys and girls living in Flint, Michigan have one thing in common despite being more than 600 miles apart. They cannot afford to believe in Aquaman. What sense does it make to believe in a being that possesses unique aquatic powers but lacks the will to fight the water struggles that everyday people battle? See, ignorance is bliss, but so is fixing long-term problems with temporary solutions. Although the only reservations I've attended are the fine dining kind, I can only imagine that the indigenous people of Standing Rock are tired of listening to the false promises that our government provides, tired of standing on Dakota pipelines, blatant disrespect for the Missouri River, which is the reservation's main water supply. How many times will politicians turn a blind eye to the constant contamination of minorities' water supply? So tell me, where in the fuck is Aquaman when you need him? Although I'm not the voice for indigenous people, I promise I'm more related than kinfolk. See, being black in America is associated in a hashtag I can't breathe with Eric Garner's last few words. But to me, it also means my cousin who has to keep her asthma pump on a tight leash because she can't afford for it to be outside of her vicinity. And it never occurred to me that the reason my cousin can't breathe is because of the power plant that's within 5 minutes of her home's vicinity. Did you know that children with skin this blessed are 10 times more likely to see heaven from asthma-related deaths? See, back when we were young, me and my cousin could run all day and night with no respect for danger or regard for air. But now it breaks my heart having to carry my cousin in my arms up this flight of stairs. I hate asthma. It is the ankle monitor to her freedom. Yet despite being sentenced to a lifetime of lupus, she still finds a way to smile. In 2021, I learned that environmental racism doesn't hit your heart until it hits your home. We cannot address our environment but disregard our racist system, nor address our racist system but disregard our environment. They are one and the same. So even as I sit and write this poem, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. All right, we got a 9.3, 9.7, 9.7, 9.8, and a 10. Give it up for the The last round of Zoe, 29.4. We had number 7. Y'all give it up for Nick Corbin.
Get this work, sir.
So when I was growing up, I remember aunts, uncles, and other older folks telling me to stay away from these fast-ass girls. And even though I listened well, I sit and think quietly to myself, I mean, I enjoy sports and I run pretty fast, so what the hell is the problem with fast-ass girls? But it wasn't until much later that I learned the term fast was attributed to young black girls due to unsubstantiated claims regarding their sexual behavior. In our culture, you're considered fast for merely acting like a regular teenager, and I won't even try to cap. At one point, I subscribed to the same thoughts that placed black girls in a box that carried the labels fast, hold, and thought due to the respectability politics that I was exposed to. Now,
I love being black, but there are fundamental flaws that need to be rooted out of our community. This thought came after I realized that black girls are stigmatized for the development of their chest, legs, hips, and thighs, plus everything else that naturally comes with puberty. See, in black culture, we have too many families that grant sexual predators with immunity that let them abuse with impunity because whether they grew up impoverished or were brought up wealthy, too many of our families hesitate to deal with our own Robert Kellys. It can be your older cousin Mike or your cool Uncle James who will try to sugarcoat the abuse and claim they're playing a little game. And it's a damn shame members of the family are well aware and never seem to care, but when all that dirt comes out in the wash, no one wants to shoulder any blame, but our families will say, make sure you eat your greens and get your protein. Then as your body develops, you start to appeal to their sexual appetite because they're clearly protein. In our communities, we love hip hop so much that some families rep Cash Money Records the way older cousins and adults force juveniles to back that ass up at a family gathering or visit. Then they'll see no problem with it, and it don't sit right in my spirit that from the time they start to mature, black girls are sentenced to a penitentiary of pain and made to sit solitarily confined in shame without the option of an appeal. And too many families, uncles feel like the Fresh Prince and touch them against their will, so trauma is always relived, and if they talk about it, they get shunned from the family like the original Aunt Viv. So instead of telling little black girls not to be so fast, let's start telling these grown-ass family friends and relatives not to chase them. We have to address the predatory behaviors in our families because there is no excuse. We have to let our children know that none of the pain is their fault and that they're not complicit in their own abuse. So I want to remind anyone listening that you're more than the pain someone brought you or the trauma you were forced to go through. So if you were ever abused or called fast, I wish that was a pain you never had to endure. But I want to tell you, from one victim of sexual abuse to another, you no longer have to run like Sha'Carri because that shame that you carry is not and never has been yours. You were caught in the middle of a drive-by between someone else and their trauma and received bullets that weren't meant for you. So what good is it for the world to say something like mute R. Kelly if we're not unmuting young black girls too? Yeah. Our community has come so far, but there's still so much work that has to be done. So we want black girls to stop being so fast. We need to stop giving them so many reasons to run.
I got 9.8, 9.8, 10, 10, another 10. So the last round, Poetic Zay, you scored at 29.2. I'm sorry. All right, next poet coming up, we got Sweet.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I am Sweet, and I'll keep it short and sweet. All right. Silently raised to my lips and said, honey dripping out of my ears and down my neck, swirling around April, slower but quicker than a second. I am sweet and I'll keep it short and sweet. Drawing patterns within my veins on my chest, coffee, hazelnut, blooming or half-lit. It all feels like honey dripping into syrup. I am sweet and I'll keep it short and sweet. This is a honey metamorphosis of who I am. I am sweet and I'll keep it short and sweet. Thank you.
We've been here smiling. They should have been short and sweet. All right, y'all, I got 7.5, 8.5, 9.2, 9.3, and a 10 for the 4. Y'all give your Last round, Nick, quorum is 29.8. All right, next one coming up, we got Saul. Y'all give it up for Saul.
For a week, maybe just a moment, in the blinking of eternity's eye, we pretended. We pretended that fate was fearlessly fighting on our side, that the choices of yesteryear were as meaningless as forgotten tears of betrayal, that smiles were the only mortar of necessity needed to lay golden bricks that followed into destiny, but we forgot about reality. We held happiness' blueprint in hands that mapped contradicting lifelines. We pressed them together in hope, in the faithful knowledge that skipping heartbeats when near would skip the parts of it, would skip the parts of us that was broken. Consciously only showing each other the chambers that darkness couldn't find its way into, we shadowed our shortcomings. Fully aware that truth would rear her ugly head and our time together would be shortcoming, believing, long-suffering. We walked in opposite directions backwards and crashed into each other's past faster than life would allow us to comprehend what was happening. We wiped fears from the corners of lids in passing. We leaned in to kiss but missed. Landed on cheeks we speak but we're not listening. Because internal obscenities once shouted to God now rain down on us, because when he told us to stop, we said we hadn't quite had enough. We both had some things we wanted to leave behind, but discovered each other and walked into our futures blind. And now hindsight convicts us of 2020 excuses to disappear never seemed more clear, so far away, yet so near to the things we hold dear, with arms wrapped tight in midnight's light. We held each other until it felt like it would be all right. We rocked each other out of the grasp of monsters, and not the kind that cling to bed rails, but the ones that war against the peace of mind. I was his and he was mine, so we married the idea of happiness. We never quite consummated it, because the weight of society's eyes tainted it, so we divorced it. And now we're in rings on middle fingers, we just fuck the idea of being in love. What we created was perfect. We created a state of affairs so sacred that eyes watching could either worship or hate it. But looming excommunication from arenas of success turned us to gladiators, warring against each other in open heart, open hand combat to come back to happiness.
All right, I got a 9.2. 9.8. 9.9. 10. And another 10. Y'all give it up for Sarah. So last round sweep, you scored in at 27. All right, next coming up, number 10, we got poet Dub the Creek.
So sorry, I can't stand spiders. Anybody else scared of spiders? Yeah. Nobody's scared. You're not scared. So if 8 spiders started walking towards you, you wouldn't, whatever. I killed one the other day. I got to thinking, how would I feel if I were feared just because of what I am? Like, I know it's weird, but I started picturing me as a spider. Like, dang, always in survival mode. Got to be careful every step I take. Avoiding those higher than me because sometimes they kill what they don't understand.
There's a misunderstanding every day. Like when I try to walk past people, they think I'm gonna attack them for no reason or something. These stomp your ground laws got y'all killing things like, I don't know, look pretty threatening. It's like they're trying to kick us out after all we've done for this country. Environment. But I guess you can do that when you own everything. You call me aggressive, call me threat, call me dangerous, but 7 legs out of 8 when we bite, it is a bite back. We're retaliating over something you started. You say we are all dangerous, but you haven't met all of us, and you can't believe everything you see on the web. I can't help this genetic makeup, this big body, the way I look. You know, I was told the other day that I am naturally intimidating. And I don't mean to make this about color, but you know, the black and the brown ones get the worst reputation. The black widow and brown recluse, spiders get the worst reputation in America because misunderstood spins into most threatening and most dangerous. But you know what's crazy? America, that's like you hate the way we are built, so you make money off our silk. And our music. And our athlete. Silk, sorry, y'all, the poem is about the blacknophobia. Arachnophobia. But you see how our stories are caught tangled up together, like how the black and the brown ones, they get the worst rep. The web got America thinking you a threat. Some girl without their daddy long legs, how do we lose them? They make our women black widows and our Mike Browns reclusive. Cobwebs in our justice system show you there hasn't been a lot of progress lately because it's like every time you start to move, it's back to your shoes. Like, why you always aggressive? Why you have so many babies and leave them when they're young? Don't you do more than hang on the corner? I mean, in the corner? You poison your community anyways. We are doing the world a favor, but it's like we are waiting for America to say, wait. That's one of the good ones. No, we will always be the bad one if the only time we interact is when you're arresting or killing us. Y'all, true story. The other day, I was told that I am naturally intimidated. Now, do you know how it feels to be feared just because of what you are? That's the same phobia that squashed Philando Castile and Ahmaud Arbery and any other spider you would like to name. So please, check the bottom of your fears, America. We don't need another misunderstanding.
All right, we got perfect scores all across the board. All right, so last round we had Soul at 29.7. All right, so next coming up, y'all give a warm welcome for LB.
On the album called Freedom, track 1, another unarmed black person murdered by the police, again, the remix. Have you heard the ballad of the black body's breath? How it gasps for air like reaching for heavenly help. And again, another black mother's prayers echo back black halos. Answers coming round around here. We say, why black death sounds so familiar? Almost like you can hear every soul song sample. Some say that when they died, that they sung for the only begotten Son. And everybody is spiritual until it's time to become one. They say, yeah, the police did it. But don't innocent black deaths sing like a guilty confession? So moving, that song eating at courtrooms, dancing around convictions. Old school swing like this here licks black carcass got a new face, like straight through 9 heartbeat with some 808s here in America. Don't black bodies drop like album releases? And we are so busy dancing to the music of excuses to see what the DOJ hands are doing. Another black soul turned vinyl record. Can you hear how it gets scratched away? Every wonder why it stays on repeat. Every wonder why it stays on repeat. Every wonder why it stays on repeat. Ask yourself, when was the last year of your life to go by when an unknown black person wasn't murdered by the police and then buried beneath the news headlines? They said it was just a 911 call. Vigilante asking for nothing but suspicion. The 911 dispatcher said, well, then what are you going to do? Just before another black body was made victim, we asked, was he jogging or walking? Because we can't tell if this is the ballad of Ahmaud Arbery or Trayvon Martin. They said it was a black body murdered in their own home. We asked, is this the Tatiana Jefferson or Breonna Taylor song? They said they heard him say, I can't breathe. We asked, was George Floyd the remix of Eric Garner or just the loops he paid these royalties? We keep asking because this keeps happening. The ballad keeps playing Black Death and the police keep sampling. We have all seen these scenes before. Postcard reminders of how we go from still images to emotion picture view. From picking a nigga from picnics to lynching a nigga and then uploading it to YouTube. And here we are again, asking, have you heard the ballad of the black body's breath? How it gasps for air, like reaching for heavenly. I can't help but wonder, what if America sees our pain, hears our murder, and thinks it's just music to the ears?
I got 9.9. 9.9. Another 9.9. 10. 10. 10. Perfect score, he had a 30. I'll give it up to Michael Lester. It's intimidating being here.
This is my uncle, my story. With a mouthful of rage, he chews with intention, gnashing. Frantic, desperate, wanting, a hunger burned inside that could not be satisfied, fueled by hate. Hate for you. You who promised him, who used him, who hurt him, who had the power, has the power, who threw him away like the trash, unwanted clutter, an unnecessary distraction, a buried memory best left forgotten, anger and hate and hurt clashing together like a disintegrated chord, like screaming ignored, like broken glass, clashing realities that seem to go off like a bomb destroying all life around it, yet it's the only music he knows, and though it does not soothe or comfort, he sings it loud, really loud, and louder and louder. Listen! His heart is screaming, listen! Listen! Listen to the brokenness that claimed his youth, his innocence, his hopes, his dreams, replaced them with desire. A desire to hurt you. Wow. To hurt you. To hurt you who touched him there, who stole all that was safe, and killed him inside, and did things he didn't understand, and you left him in fear and self-hate and shame and confusion. And now when anyone touches me, him, when someone tries lovingly to embrace, when he feels the weight of their body on his, he can't breathe. And all the colors of the world turn dark, and the monster wells up, heavy breathing, panting, selfish, smothering, until you were satisfied. Wow. You were done. And the faces swirl together like a kaleidoscope of ugly. And he soothes the hate with discord and chaos, and with a mouth full of rage, he chews with intention, gnashing.
Nice.
So last round, LB 29.9. All right. You got a 9.2, 9.5, 9.8, 9.8, 9.8. All right, y'all, we got two more points for this first round. Number 13, give it up for Amin Ra.
So a curve is mathematically defined as a continuously bending line with no straight parts. To have to make a shift, change, or deviation from a plane surface without sharp breaks or angularity. Now, the Urban Dictionary says a curve is to ignore, avoid, or sidestep someone's obvious expression of romantic interest. The first time I got curved was at a scary ring when I was 13. I approached this girl, right? My skates became a chariot, strobe lights illuminated the path, Mariah Carey's Sweet Fantasy blasted in the background, and the aroma of fresh popcorn put me in the front seat of my very own romantic comedy. Now, trying to mask my nervousness, I decided to use a pickup line I heard once. I said, "Excuse me, do I know you from somewhere?" She responded, "You don't know shit." Now, in that moment, right, my smile transformed into a continuously bending line with no straight parts. My friend's not there. Felt like wet cement pouring into my ear. It hardened in my chest, wrapped every organ in sight, and sank into a bottomless pit of embarrassment. You know, they say curves don't have sharp breaks, but the words cut my pride and opened a wound I didn't know was still there. You see, the scars of rejection represent opportunity lost, a turn for the worst, a deviation from a beautiful daydream. See, I have fallen in love with women before even knowing their name. I placed a potential on a pedestal, said prayers on an uneven surface. It got pissed when the entire thing toppled over. I've been obsessed with the acute faces, infatuated with the obtuse angles, that I have a really hard time choosing the right one. Obviously, I am not that good at you. But I started to learn a harsh lesson that people are allowed to leave, to love you, but not want to talk to you. To fall in love with someone else and move on, and do whatever they need to do to become a better version of themselves. But that also means we can do the same. We can fill the empty space they left with our own presence. We can replace it with the child staring back at us in the mirror. We can laugh and sing for no other reason than celebrating the fact that we are alive, and let hope be the percussion that makes the blood march through our veins. Yes, y'all. These words are easier delivered into a microphone and use the stitches for open wounds, but I'm sure of one thing. When that person you choose also chooses you, it'll be the most beautiful couple skate you can imagine. You approach each curve that rank hand in hand, your smiles, two continuously bending lines without break, without angularity, bring everything full circle.
Ready? You got a 9.6, 9.8. I'm sorry, no, 2.96, 2.96. Then a 9.8, 9.9, and a 10. Y'all give it up. The last time we left, scored in at 29.1. Y'all give it up. All right, y'all, we made it. Last poet of the first round, Landon Generally.
I'm at a party 2 hours from home, which is not. The bass of every song starts to blur together, or maybe it's just the 3, 4 shots that I've had tonight. There's another boy there who takes a liking to my lip rings. When we dance together, I cup his hip bones in the palms of my hands, like he is Michelangelo, and I consider myself holy for the first time. We sit down, we only see each other. His arm makes its way around the back of my neck like it already belongs there. We flirt with each other like two cars turning from opposite lanes, flirt with the idea of a collision. Dangerous, but necessary to feel something. He looks at me and I think I see an angel when I look back. Or maybe he just looks ethereal in my headlights. It's sometime past midnight and I am getting to know the inside of his mouth all too well. He sips liquor from the hollows of my collarbones. Spurred on by the music thrumming its way through our bloodstreams, I won't remember his name, but I'll smell his cologne on his shirt tomorrow morning.
Last round, Simon Rob scored in at 29.3. All right, judges, whenever. We got 8.5. 8.8. 9.2. Oh, right. 8.8. 9.2. 9.4. And 9.8. Y'all get that? And we're gonna take probably about, what you wanna do, 5 minutes, LJ?
No, like 2 minutes.
2 minutes? And then we're gonna come up with the second round. So y'all gotta use the bathroom, so wash your hands while y'all.
You need to use the bathroom, that's the time to do it. We're going right to the second round, like 2 minutes. I literally need 2 minutes.
Oh,
Everybody good? Everybody great?
Make sure we good.
Worry about it. All right, get everybody back seated. We're gonna get ready to start the second round. We're ready to start the second round. Get everybody back seated. Get back in their good seats. Real quick, energy check. How y'all enjoy that first round? Y'all been enjoying the host? I just wanted to make sure everybody was good. Checking everything. Now remember, y'all. I want y'all to tell y'all friends this and we'll get this thing back started. Y'all need to look y'all friends in the eye. And y'all literally tell them when y'all see them. The ones that don't come out often. You cannot tell me that there ain't shit to do in favor. Because y'all are here enjoying some poetry. Being edified and entertained, correct? Exactly. Give it back up for y'all hosts. Tell them.
I know I'm through that mad. All right, y'all. So we go into the second round, but first we got to say goodbye to a couple poets. So I'm gonna name the list of the poets that made it, and then we're gonna kick it off to the second round. So we got Doug Dupree, Nick Foreman, Saul, Zoe, Amira, and Poetic Zone. Oh, my fault. Poetic Zay. I told y'all it's that fast I'm on. All right, y'all, let's get this thing kicked off. We're gonna bring back Doug Dupree. Y'all clap it up.
Addiction is a hard thing to control when you've had it for like a really long time. You ever itch for a fix before? Ever scratch so deep you start to see the skeleton in your closet? No, did addiction ever have you before? Rip you awake in the middle of the night to remind you that you need it, while relapse kicks in that back door, hold your rehab at gunpoint, threatens to crackhead if you try to get on recovery on them. Remind you your past is too junky for you to ever be clean, so it's back to your old habits. Getting high as an addict scratch your life away, because addiction is a hard thing to control when you've had it for a long time. Y'all sick of scratch. But I can never look down on drug addicts and alcoholics when I've been addicted to acceptance and affirmation. You know, them gateway drugs to depression. See, my dealer only told me how good it feels to scratch. Never told me the more I scratch, the more I itch. How contagious it is. I think my dad left me with this itch before he left me. Found out my birth mom used to itch for drugs. I guess itch just runs in my family, but I'm not trying to like father, like son in addiction. I always thought she didn't really love me. That's why she rubbed me in the foster care. So y'all, I've been scratching since age 6. Itching for words like I believe in you. Grew up snorting affirmations from Facebook likes. Can you overdose on validation? Don't look at me like that. Everyone's addicted to something. I ain't the only fiend in this room scratching like it's the lottery. Like if you win, the only thing you're trying to buy is your skin back. But they say the first step in getting over an addiction is admitting that you have one. Some days that sounds like I give up or something, and I don't give up or something. You know what? I realize I've been saying that wrong the whole time. I've been saying addiction is hard to control when I should have been saying addiction is hard to control. You know, when you've been enunciating I am an addict instead of pronouncing I am free. Be careful what you say to yourself. You might start to believe you. I am learning you don't have to be the slave of addiction. You can be the master of it. I am learning that it's all about what you talk like. And now I talk like I don't itch. Now I talk like no generational curses. Now I articulate no shackles for my offspring. Like there may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Like if you had scratch problems, I'll be back with you, son. I got 99 problems, but an itch ain't one. I am free. I understand I'm not miraculously cured today, but what about tomorrow? Next week, next year, day 1,267 of you reminding your addiction, you decided to nicoderm patch your life back together. Or jabu yourself to sober that you are testimony. You are aloe to eczema. You are generational curses now broken. You are not an addict. You are itch free. Now stop scratching.
All right, y'all, we had a 9.9. 10. 10. Y'all give it up for the applause. All right, y'all, man, let's keep this thing going. Give it up for LB.
My very first breath was taken on the early hours of December the 1st. My very first word, according to my dad, was none other than hallelujah. And the very first thing that I could ever remember learning is simply that God is love. Now, my very first accident was biting a battery in half, and it's something about the way it shocks the breath out of you. Growing older, I felt like I could control the current if I always stayed grounded, so my confident heart made me feel like I could do the impossible, like fall in love, like when the very first time that I told the girl that God is love. So baby, I'm God, you. Y'all, she laughed. And that laughter felt like a fistful of atheists. It slowed up my breathing so bad that I couldn't verbally exhale the highest praises again. Two things. This taught me that my emotions are asthmatic. and how much like breathing love truly is. How fluid separation and leaving words only float on air, and there was no one around to sell your reasons to stop seeking into your own silence. But even when I couldn't speak, God taught me to just wave my hand. Because actions always spoke louder than words. Like when the very first girl told me that she loved me and meant it. Y'all, it sounded like my very first hallelujah. Together we learned that our heartbeat is the instrumental to how true worship should feel. But when our music stopped, she danced around the pieces of my broken heart like David, removing every part of me until she was naked enough to find out that God is love, even when you are not loving. When she told me it was over, I found myself in silence again. And with no words to say, all I can do is remember. So I just waved my hand. Y'all, isn't it funny? How a cry for God to save me and goodbye can look exactly the same. Her name is real to me now. Every time it touches my tongue, I can still feel the Judas and her goodbye. Her name, it sounds a lot like 30 pieces of silver. You have any idea what it cost me to take my heart? It's like being in a syllable of her name. Now I know what it feels like fighting to get out of my chest. Now I know what it feels like to fight a goodbye out of my chest. It feels like a backstabber, like a fight song, like 2 syllables. I love, you don't. Backstab, fuck you, fight song, please stay, don't leave. No matter how bad being stabbed hurts you, it always hurts worse pulling your other sharpness out of your life. No matter how bad, you have to remember that Cupid's arrow was never designed to be removed. Especially when you love like breathing. You see, the problem with having asthmatic emotions is that you focus too much on trying to catch your breath when you should be learning to just let it go.
Go ahead and say it. All across the board. Give it up to LB. Last round.
What that equal up to?
So the last round does a prescore perfect 30. So don't be tight this next round. Poets going in. So give it up for the third poet coming up, Wayne Henry, y'all.
Rule number 1, poet. Let's go.
As a kid, I enjoyed staring at the clouds, watching them shape shift as they fought against the wind. I always wondered, after a cloud changes, can it still recognize its own reflection, or what a stranger that cloud must become to itself? I remember my 2 feet on the ground, my head aimed up toward heaven, and all I could do was watch. When my uncle was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, on that day, he became a cloud. Wow. His thoughts and memories fighting the gust of wind. Have you ever seen a man try to Rubik's Cube together his own reality, or wrestle his memories into submission? He tells me stories about the cloud he used to be for the 100th time when I would listen. There was an eerie beauty in watching him relive himself. They say a man's memory forms its own cloud within the mind, too high to reach earth, yet too low to touch heaven, stuck in the perfect purgatory, because there's no rule of architecture when it comes to castles made out of air and dissolving spirits. So after his sky is kissed by amnesia, the names of his loved ones become ash on his tongue, his mouth, an iron furnace, or casket. Either way, it is death before death, the way Alzheimer's erases the mind and the spirit long before the body can collapse. And no one told me that a cloud was able to fall from the sky, but apparently, when the moisture gets too heavy for the body, a cloud will bleed itself out into raindrops. Maybe that's why they taste like tears. Maybe that's why he becomes the perfect storm, thunder roaring from his mouth, lightning strikes as his fist punches the wall because it's when he rains. is now a reminder of a marriage he can no longer remember. I remember at his wife's funeral, he thought he was dressing himself for the wedding day. Have you ever tried to explain the difference between the two? Or just watch him become a burning fog fading from his own fingertips, so I did my best to remember his love when he could no longer remember himself, because a cloud will black out the sky in darkness once it forgets its purpose. The silver lining becomes a noose that chokes the sunshine right out of daylight, and I remember my 2 feet on the ground, my head aimed up toward heaven, and all I could do was watch. I mean, have you ever tried holding a cloud by the recollection? Have you ever just tried holding a cloud and shaking that cloud until he remembers that he wasn't always a cloud, that he once was a mountain of a man, one for all time was broken from this earth, placed him into the sky just out of my reach, and then I become that kid again. My 2 feet on the ground, my head aimed up toward heaven, and all I could do
You ready? We got all 10 across the board again. Y'all give us some applause. All right, y'all. So, poet number 4, Nick Corbin.
I used to love to watch pro wrestling when I was a kid because that shit was so dope. I remember me and my homies imitating moves and jumping off the furniture like it was the top rope. And I know they told us to never try those moves at home, but I mean, what kid didn't want to be in the WWF or the WWE? Who in the hell didn't want to smell what the rock was cooking? In my house, wrestling was always in demand, but we ain't never bought the pay-per-views because my mama said, hell no. But when it came time for SmackDown, you couldn't tell me I wasn't a little Negro. Eddie Guerrero ain't never been to San Diego, but I'm repping the West Coast like I'm Rey Mysterio because I'm from the 336. But I'm at the crib yelling 619. When wrestling was on, I wasn't hard to find, even though it was action-packed. Wrestling would ease my mind, and people would always try to tell me, don't you know that wrestling is fake? But I didn't give a damn, because for me, wrestling was more than entertainment. Wrestling provided an escape until the day wrestling became the mandatory minimum sentencing that would incarcerate my innocence. Wrestling was my breath of fresh air before it started to pollute my happiness and change the climate of my life. I slowly stopped being receptive of the positive feelings wrestling would induce when I began to suffer sexual abuse at the hands of an older girl who used wrestling as an excuse to touch me. I wasn't outspoken as a child, and she took advantage of nearly every situation using clever tactics of manipulation to her advantage. She would slip the pants off of my adolescent frame and make me promise to never say a thing. And if anybody ever asked what we were doing, to just say we were playing wrestling. So wrestling no longer means the same to me. Wrestling used to bring wealth to my soul, now it leaves my spirit swimming in poverty. I no longer watch the WWE, but I find myself wrestling every day. Wrestling the pain and anxiety that I figured would go away on its own. Wrestling my confusion about what real love is. Wrestling the fear of who I trust to babysit when my wife gives birth to our own kids. I wrestle thoughts on the daily that go from delightful to disturbing. I've always wrestled these thoughts solo because I never wanted others to know or carry my burdens. I turned into Triple H because I harbored hurt, hate, and heartache. Or I could have been a black Shawn Michaels since I was the heartbroken kid. Always feeling confusion and quick to become disillusioned by the potential of affection. because whether I was at school or home, every location became an arena, since no one could see the real me, so I was something like John Cena. I had to camouflage the guilt and the pain because I was power-driven into these problems. I wrestled so much shame because I always wanted to be like Dwayne Johnson, but instead of being The Rock, I only hit rock bottom. And the more I think about it, I get angrier and angrier because I no longer have a firm grasp of my emotions. Because every day I wrestle mania and I wrestle the urge to spend each and every single day on my own. Because when I needed someone to save me from her clutches, I was the only person I could depend on.
Got a 9.8 for poet. 9.8. 9.9. 10. Another 10. Y'all give it up. On the fifth floor, we got soul. Y'all give it up for
Just pour me another shot. I know what I'm doing. My fairy tale lives somewhere in this bottle, and though I haven't figured out how to reach it between bliss and blackout, I know I can capture it. Just need another shot. Need to drown the memories you weren't a part of to make room for this one. This one I won't remember in the morning when your kisses are washed out in vomit and mystery. I don't mean to. It's the only way I know how to love. It's the only way I know how to live. I'm not trying to forget you. This is the only way I know how to focus. Your hand touches my face to feel safe, completely uninhibited, free, because that's the way you like me. That's the only way I would feel like a person, not a past real on repeat. I'll direct the movie in my mind in the morning, merge clips of what I hope happened, and it will be beautiful, just like you wanted. And I need another shot first. An equal playing field for the scales to balance and my desire to be more true than my conscience. You understand, don't you? It's not you. It's me. When my hand falls to your lap or my lips grace your neck, I need it to be because I wanted to. I am in control in my inebriation. I am not damaged when I am drunk. I am in control. I'm powerful. Don't make me feel guilty for that. For forgetting the good and the bad simultaneously. Just pour me another shot. Drink with me. Laugh with me. When my eyes glaze over, know you have found me. And love me in my difference.
9.6, 9.9.
Alright.
We got a 10,
Let's go.
a 10, and a 10. Y'all give it up. The last round, we had Nick Corbin scored in at 29.7. In the next court, number 6, we got Zoe. Y'all give it up for Zoe.
Let's go,
When Biggie said, when I die, fuck it, I don't wanna go to hell, I felt that line strum according to me like the sound of church bells, because there's been an increase in suicide rates among black teens, and every day folks wonder what that figure looks like or even mean translation. My niggas is suicidal, but from my observation, most of niggas grown folks grown idle like niggas is suicidal. I hear my father voice his envy for our dead relatives, because while their souls are resting in peace, he still gotta sell his, cause niggas is suicidal. My mother could never stay in therapy because doctors would disregard her needs and then start her mental entropy. We feel like the world is working us to the bone. We get pushed to the brink of violence, becoming nihilists, feeling dead, and left alone. It's like we're slipping. We fall and we can't get up because niggas is suicidal can only find a will to live in obligation, but dependency leaves no time to recover. So the shit carries through our generations. Like niggas is suicidal because niggas can't seem to idle. That's just the first word. And our purpose is ingrained forever in our title. Well, white supremacy is beating on our mothers and others. The trauma that is wanting to hold the belt instead of taking it, but we barely make it. Trap house ain't no home, you can't stay in it. Cause niggas is suicidal. Got to call them mental illnesses, demons, because God got the ability to conquer them. Who said they can't beat them? That a boy once said, and now they can't sleep. I tossed and turned candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Got to call their depression as being tired. That's schizophrenia as them just badly wired, and that anxiety got them ticking, feeling like the time is about to expire. See, niggas are suicidal, regardless of what's on the other side, because niggas ain't allowed to feel that hurts. This niggas ain't allowed in this day's work, and most certainly, my niggas won't know peaceful. No question. Niggas are suicidal, and it's illegal for us to be idle. Why? Which if you are polite, isn't the song title or another bill title, because another bill may be passed, but it don't stop the officer from flaming me flat on my ass. It don't stop the store clerk from harassing me. It don't stop class asking me for pension. Shit. I'm sorry, Ms. Jensen. I didn't know my present perfection needs a pension, so when Biggie said when I die, fuck it, I want to go to hell. I felt that kick strong. According to me, that was what's hard to tell, because we neglect to care for the cuts and won't that are born into our brown shells and never have the opportunity to simply exhale like snap. We crack the amount of stress start to crash on us like tidal. See, my culture is embedded in the struggle. So I would have to wonder why my niggas is suicidal.
So last round, Soul scored in at 29.9, but there was a 0.5 penalty from one over the time. So it's a
You rat bastard.
29.4.
You ruined it for everyone, but it was well worth it.
So y'all give it up for Soul last round. Judges, y'all ready to score this? All right, I got a 9.9.
Okay.
10, 10, 10, 10. All right, we have number 7 on this list. Amin Rob. Y'all put
So when I first started studying poetry, right, I was desperate for acceptance from my friends, other poets, and most definitely the ladies, but honestly, I had no idea how this whole poetry thing worked. So I decided to do what any other college-educated young man would do. I Googled that shit. How to spit spoken word poetry. After searching the internet for a while, I came across an audio file titled Everything You Need to Know About Spoken Word Poetry. After clicking on the file, following a line and rubbing the genie's lamp, because a whole new world was open right before my eyes. Congratulations! You just been chosen to become America's next top poets. After listening to this file, you'll walk like a poet, you'll dress like a poet, you got groupies like a poet. In the poetry community, there are three different types of poetry. You have political poetry, self-discovery poetry, and my personal favorite, PDPs, panty dropping poetry. Example number one, political poetry. When spinning a political poem, if the Donald Trump folks in the room are pissing their pants by the end of your poem, you're neither black nor angry enough. Example. Niggas! Niggas, you been hoodwinked! Run them up! Bamboozled! Your revolution will not be televised, because revolution will be live on your Netflix! Example number two, self-discovery poetry. When spinning a self-discovery poem, it should be light. It should make you look at the person sitting next to you and say, thank you for being in existence. Example. As I was named ass naked in my backyard. Staring at the clouds, I saw your face. In your face. And they came together to make my face. Namaste, bitches. Example number three, my personal favorite. Everybody say it with me. PDP's panty dropping poetry. Now, when spinning a PDP, it's very important to get close to the mic. Breathe deeply. Lick your lips. And insert an inappropriate God reference at the end of your poem. Example. Baby, I want to stare at you all day like my Xbox 360. Videotape you like Ray J and sell this shit in stores for free. I want to lick you from your nose all the way down to your toes. Why? That shit tastes like God to me. But honestly, y'all, for real, I wrote the poems, and I did everything that I thought the audience would like, but honestly, I wasn't really touching anybody, I wasn't really inspiring anything, so I went home and I looked myself in the mirror and said, yo, Rob, how are you going to connect with the people? How are you actually going to make a difference with this poetry? And it finally came to me, y'all. Spit your truth. And it'll be just fine. Spit your truth. And it'll be just fine.
All right, we got a 9.8, a 9.9, 10, 10, 10. So last round, Zoe scored in at a perfect 30. I'll give it up we have the last poet for this round, and then we're going to break it up again, and then we're going right in for this third final round. We're going right to it. We're going to keep it going. So y'all give it up Poetic Zach. Dear Black woman, I'm sorry for failing. From absent-minded fathers lacking time, finances, or emotion, from previous ex-lovers who only wanted your body and disregarded of your heart and emotion, from family members that innocence and peace of mind was broken from. That boy who laughed in class with a darker complexion was known as I am sorry. Hell, on behalf of all men, we are sorry. Dear Black woman, did you know that a boy can never do the work of a man? So I give him another chance to break your heart, woman. It's not fair that the real man in your life was watching and observe as a boy precisely destroys this woman's work. But when and if a real man catches your heart, it is now his responsibility to repair everything the last tore apart. How is this fair? Exchanging his blind trust for your guarded investments because your anticipation of, girl, he gonna hurt me just like all the rest is inevitable. Please understand that there are men who would love you from sun up to sun down, respect you from the bottom of your toe to the tip of your crown, but they cannot help you find work within your own skin. Dear Black woman,
Why allow this guy to play you to the side as if you are not the same black woman that puts the sweet and sweet potato pie as if your combination of humming and melodies mixed with the stirring of the baked mac and cheese doesn't make me think of culture and tradition for the motherland that I never got to see. So don't you dare let any being, especially that of man, tell you that you are anything less, because you are roots primarily planted in us black men producing fruits which all cultures can bear. Dear black men, I know we don't always make it easy, but I ask that you love your black men. Love your black men because we are brought up to respect and admire all that you are, from the curls in your head to the attitude, from your lips even all the way down to the curves on your hips. Love that black man because he is conditioned to love every part of you. But are you conditioned for his love and vulnerable attitude? Know that society has taught him to disregard his emotion and shelter his insecurities without regard or notice. He battles social norms and influence from his peers, encouraging him that relationships and intimacy are things of his ancestors' years. Love that black man and not that black boy, because that black man has loved you from shadows, from sickness and in health. Woman, that black man even loved you when you didn't love yourself. So if he feels comfortable enough to be vulnerable with you, wrap him in words of peace, not words of ridicule, speak things of kindness and diction that is good, because your words plant the seeds to his manhood. Love that black man because the world you live in won't. And the last thing he needs is a woman of his dreams pushing his hopes, especially if his hopes may lie within you. So dear black woman, love that black man from the strength in his voice to the error in his ways, even all the way down to the hurt in his pain. Love that black man, black woman. Simply because if you haven't heard it enough, or at all for that matter, you're black woman. We need you.
All ready? LJ, we got a score of all 10 across the board.
All 10, okay.
So man, this the second round's kind of hot one. Good. You want to do it? Okay. All right, so we're coming down. Final four polls. We got one home piece. Let's go.